Welcome to Herd Mentality, a podcast from StoneX where we discuss global dairy markets and what's driving them. Remember that the trading of derivatives such as futures, options, and over the counter products or swaps may not be suitable for all investors. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss, and past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. We're recording this on August 8th. With me this week is Niall Alsafi. He was born and raised in Ireland, but moved down to Australia, Sydney, Australia, about 2 years ago to start our dairy desk in Australia. But you're home visiting Ireland again, right?
I am indeed, yes. First off, thanks for having me, Nate. Yeah, I've been back 2 weeks, and it's great to be back. Great to be back
Yeah.
where it all started.
So we had an interesting GDT event this week. It pretty much came in along the lines of what the futures were expecting, um, with skim and whole milk powder up a bit and anhydrous up, but butter down. Uh, you know, maybe of the price changes, the strength on whole milk powder is the most surprising. This time of year, with the volume on offer on GDT increasing, there's a strong tendency for prices to decrease, and yet whole milk powder overall was up 2.1% at this event. What do you think's driving that whole milk powder pricing?
Yeah, it's a great question, Nate. And I think just to start off, I would say we have seen over the past couple of events that the futures have done a really good job at forecasting GDT prices, and maybe that's a function of a lack of volatility in the market as well. But what we hear and what we're feeling is that there's still a lot of things to be covered, especially from China. And we had the feeling that Chinese buyers were delaying purchases in anticipation for the flush. Like you mentioned, that historic drop in prices or low points in prices, which hasn't materialized. And compound that with maybe a similar situation in Southeast Asia, you get maybe a more compressed demand during this flush region. And yeah, we would have expected the forward curve to look a bit different at this time of the year. It's remained very flat, and we felt that maybe it would be a bit more inverted.
Yeah, it was backwardated for a long time, but this strength on the front end of the curve and kind of the spot market on GDT has really pulled up those futures contracts. I I don't know. I think something 3,800 to 4,000 a ton is a pretty fair price moving forward, so long as the fat complex holds together. But we did see butter at the event down about 3.8%, although anhydrous milk fat was up 1.2%. Why are we seeing this split in direction between AMF and butter?
Yeah, it's another really good point. So, I mean, I think butter prices have shocked people a little bit in the market. I think people have been wanting to sell forward on butter for a while at these levels. But each GDT, the market has remained a lot more buoyant than what the market maybe would have expected. I guess there's a couple of things at play. There's still really strong demand from China. There's obviously um, that grass-fed premium preference, which New Zealand fits perfectly. Read an article recently about the growth of, say, the baked good markets in China. I guess all that maybe leading to a little bit of a shift in consumer preference. I think also I saw a chart that you came out with recently, Nate, as well, about how the US has also shifted preference for New Zealand butter now versus Irish butter. I think maybe this discount in New Zealand versus Irish or other origins in that premium category has helped keep prices afloat a little bit. But yeah, it does make AMF look a bit neglected. And I think looking back even as far as January, butter has retained the premium over AMF. And we're only finally starting to see that crack a little bit at the latest auction, even with butter still remaining retaining that premium. But looking at the forward curve now, it finally looks like AMF might be starting to regain some of that premium. So, yeah, interesting developments on that side of things.
It's been frustrating to forecast because you just think about the amount of fat in AMF versus butter. Butter, international spec, 82% fat, anhydrous milk fat, 99.5% fat. You calculate that as a ratio, and AMF should be 18%. The price of AMF should be 18% higher than the price of butter, just calculating off the higher amount of fat that's in the AMF. And yet, like you said, AMF pricing has been flat to a discount against butter. So AMF has been like a terrible return on fat. If processors had somewhere else to put it, like into a butter plant, that would have been a much better return. But I think the butter capacity was capped out last year. Have there been any new investments or changes in processing capacity that allow processors to move fat out of AMF?
Well, we have heard of some larger processors in the New Zealand market with new butter capacity, and I think already a lot of that has been sold. But I think obviously as well, Fonterra retains that flex on butter AMF, which allows them to, I guess, react a little bit. But yeah, you're right. It does feel capped out and it does feel well sold already at this stage of the season. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see from here how the AMF price responds, with probably less going out into the market. Do we start to see maybe this AMF price retain a lot of value now? I'm talking to some colleagues as well. A couple of people made a good point that an AMF skim combo might be preferred in some regions over a whole milk, for example. And if something like that picks up steam, we might see prices correct quicker than expected. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been hearing. Obviously, I also heard that Fonterra retained new UHT cream capacity as well. So yeah, that's been the story from the market.
Yeah, and that's what I have in my forecast too, is AMF increasing here the next couple of months, but butter coming down as they move cream to towards more valuable uses and get those relative prices back into better alignment. I guess the other thing that there's the potential shifts of milk between different products. There's the anticipation of some demand, and I agree with you on that. Like looking through the numbers, there are some Southeast Asian countries where their imports over the May, June into July period were a lot weaker than expected. I think they've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for a seasonal break in Oceania pricing to come back into the market. And since we're not getting that break yet, it might force them into the market and chase these prices higher. But aside from all of that, there is the what is going to happen with New Zealand's milk production in the new season. What do you think is going to happen with production?
Yeah. So we attend this New Zealand Field Days event every year, where we have a great chance to chat to farmers, get a bit of a feel of how um, they're forecasting the next season to go. And to be honest, it's a lot of happy faces, a lot of elation. We're at historic highs in terms of margins for New Zealand farmers. I think we saw as well a pickup in some feed import numbers into the shoulder of the season as well, leading to some big increases there, especially on a milk solids basis. And the perception we get is that it will be a strong season. And I guess it leaves a bit of room for some surprises in how maybe we forecast things. The milk price traded up as high as 10.20 just a couple of days ago. Um, and it's also showing in the way I think that farmers are choosing to fix their prices. It seems like maybe some of the fixed milk programs were a bit undersubscribed recently, with farmers preferring more of like a collar type structure, so they have a price range, So it does feel like there is a lot of optimism, and with prices continuing to rise, they seem happier than ever as well. So there is maybe a bit of wariness there as well that we might recommend to farmers. Maybe have a look at locking in some milk at these levels, because I think there is a big season expected.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's hard to go wrong selling some $10 milk, or at least locking in a range that includes $10 milk, especially against cost with where we think they are. It should be a very, very good margin. Um,
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time today, Niall.
Thank you very much, Nate.
The StoneX Dairy team spans the US, EU, Asia, and Oceania, providing market intelligence, analysis, and forecasts through our interactive data platform called StoneX Plus, as well as full-service brokerage on the major dairy exchanges, the CME, EEX, and SGX. If you're interested in finding out more about our market intelligence or brokerage services, you can find more information on stonex.com.
This communication is issued in the European Economic Area by StoneX Financial Europe SA, SFE by the SFE presenters noted. StoneX is the trade name used by StoneX Group Inc. and all its associated entities and subsidiaries. StoneX Group Inc. companies provide financial services worldwide through its subsidiaries, including physical commodities, securities, exchange traded and over-the-counter, under derivatives, risk management, global payments, and foreign exchange products in accordance with applicable law in the jurisdictions where services are provided. References to certain over-the-counter products or swaps are made on behalf of StoneX Markets, LLC SXM, a member of the National Futures Association NFA and provisionally registered with the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission CFTC as a swap dealer. SXM products are designed only for individuals or firms who qualify under CFTC rules as an eligible contract participant ACPAT and who have been accepted as customers of SXM. Wealth management is offered through SA Stone Wealth Management Inc., member FINRA/SIPC, and SA Stone Investment Advisors Inc., and SEC Registered Investment Advisor, both wholly owned subsidiaries of StoneX Group Inc. StoneX Financial Limited SFL is registered in England and Wales, company No. 5,616,586. SFL is authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority registration number FRN 446,717 to provide to professional and eligible customers including arrangement, execution and, where required, clearing derivative transactions in exchange-traded futures and options. SFL is also authorized to engage in the arrangement and execution of transactions in certain OTC products, certain securities trading, precious metals trading and payment services to eligible customers. SFL is authorized regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority under the Payment Services Regulations 2017 for the provision of payment services. SFL is a Category 1 ring dealing member of the London Metal Exchange. In addition, SFL also engages in other physically delivered commodities business and other general business activities which are unregulated and not required to be authorized by the Financial Conduct Authority. StoneX Financial Europe SA, SFE is a securities trading firm registered in the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg under Company No. RC Lux B 10821. SFE is authorized by the Luxembourg Ministry of Finance and regulated by the Commission de Surveillance du Secteur Financier Registration No. P00000-012 to carry out, inter alia, the activities of investment advisor, portfolio manager, professional acting on own account, broker in financial instruments, and commission agent. StoneX Financial Pte Ltd Co. Reg. No. 2011305988R SFP is regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore and is a capital market service licensee for dealing in capital market products, an exempt financial advisor for advising on investment products and issuing or promulgating analyses/reports on investment products, and a major payment institution for cross-border money transfer service. StoneX Financial HK Limited C. No. BCQ 152 SHK is regulated by the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission for dealing in futures contracts. StoneX Group Inc. acts as agent for SFL in New York with respect to its payment services business. StoneX Financial Thai Limited, SFA Akin, 141774727 holds an Australian financial service license and is regulated by the Australian Securities and Investments Commission AFSL, 345646. StoneX Securities Co. Limited, SSJ Co. Reg. No. 010401047199 is regulated by the Japanese Financial Ser. ISIS Agency as a Taipei Financial Instruments Business Operator Kanto Local Finance Bureau FIBO No. 291, is a member of the Financial Futures Association of Japan for dealing and broking FX and FX option transactions, and is a member of the Japan Securities Dealers Association for dealing and broking stock indices and option transactions. The information herein is not a recommendation to trade nor investment research or an offer to buy or sell any financial product. It does not take into account your particular investment objectives, financial situation, or needs and does not create a binding obligation on any of the StoneX Group Inc. of companies to enter into any transaction with you. You are advised to perform an independent investigation of any transaction to determine determine whether any transaction is suitable for you. This material should be construed as the solicitation of an account, order, and/or services provided by the FCM division of StoneX Financial Inc., SFI NFAID 0476094 or StoneX Markets LLC SXM NFAID 0449652 and represents the opinions and viewpoints of the individual authors or presenters and does not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of SFI or SXM. It does not constitute an individualized recommendation or take into account the particular trading objectives, financial situations, or needs of individual customers. Additionally, this material should not be construed as research material. The trading of derivatives such as futures, options, and over-the-counter OC products or swaps may not be suitable for all investors. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss, and you should fully understand the risks prior to trading. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. All references to and discussion of OTC products or swaps are made solely on behalf of SXM. All references to futures and options on futures trading are made solely on behalf of SFI. SXM products are intended to be traded only by individuals or firms who qualify under CFTC rules as an eligible contract participant ECPA and who have been accepted as customers of SXM. SFI and SXM are not responsible for any redistribution of this material by third parties or any trading decisions taken by persons not intended to view this material. Information contained herein was obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but is not guaranteed as to its accuracy. Contact designated personnel from SFI or SXM for specific trading advice to meet your trading preferences. SFP may distribute analysis/report produced by its respective foreign affiliates within the StoneX group of companies pursuant to an arrangement under Regulation 32C of the Financial Advisors Regulations. Recipients should contact SFP at 656-309-1000 for any matters arising from or in connection with this podcast. No part of this material may be copied or duplicated in any form by any means or redistributed without the prior written consent of StoneX Group Inc. The podcast herein is not directed to or intended for distribution to or use by any person or entity who is a citizen or resident of or located in any locality, state, country, or other jurisdiction where such distribution, publication, availability, or use would be contrary to law or regulation. Copyright 2024 StoneX Group Inc. All rights reserved.